Hey guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Joseph. In today's video, we're going to be doing a natural light shoot outdoors. But before that, there's a little bit of a backstory that I want to let you guys in on, and let me just jump right into it. So all the time when I'm leaving the house, there's this place that I drive by where they make these pots, these beautiful pots of different sizes, and they pack them really close to the roadside to attract potential customers. And I was attracted to it not because I wanted to buy it, even though I'm looking for pots to buy for my home. I was attracted to it because I always imagined doing a photo shoot in there, like having a dark girl with an afro and a very colorful dress. It always was in my mind. It looked really amazing. Anytime I'm passing by for days, weeks, that image always comes back to mind. And I want to say that I've been able to finally do it, as you guys are going to see in the behind the scenes. But there are a few things I also did before the shoot and I want to let you guys know about. So starting off is with planning. So when you're planning, there are certain things you need to consider. That's going to be your lenses and then the lighting conditions. So because that place is really close to the roadside, I already knew that there were two angles that I could shoot from. I could shoot from where the road is towards the pots, or I could go to the other side and shoot into the road. But shooting into the road was not going to be ideal for me. So when I used the app to check out the time that the sun is going to rise and the time it's going to set, and even where it's going to rise from and where it's going to set, it was in my favor. So it means if I was doing the shoot in the afternoon, I was going to be able to shoot into the pots and get rid of the roads, and that was the perspective that I was looking for. So the app that I use, the Sun Surveyor app, it basically showed me where the sun is going to be rising from, where it's going to be setting, and also around what time. You can even push your dates forward or backwards just to figure out if there are going to be any changes. And so when you're shooting with the sun, you either have like early mornings to shoot, or you have later on in the day to shoot. In the mornings, you have between about 6 a.m. and maybe about 10:30. That is if you want to get direction in your shoot. I always want to get some direction in my shoots, or in terms of where the light is coming from. I don't want to typically have it right above my subjects, but people do that. You can put your subjects in a shady area if the sun is directly above, and that works. Or you can still turn your subject around or make her chin up, or you can put a reflector above just to redistribute that light, soften it, and then basically relight your subject with the modifier. But where we're shooting, we didn't have any of those. I didn't have any modifiers. I didn't have the luxury of a shady area because that place was open, and so I needed to figure out the time of day to shoot that was going to give me a lot of direction. So the next thing I want to consider is going to be my camera and lens setup. Knowing that the pots are a part of the story, I needed to have a focal length that is going to include the pots in my frame. If I ended up going with a 200mm lens, for example, I will be able to shoot her all right, maybe go further back, but that's going to mean I'm going to go into the road. So I need to know that I need to be quite close to my subject, and the only way you can be close to your subject and still like encompass a large area in your frame is to shoot with wide angle lenses. Luckily I have a 24-70 art lens, and that lens is amazing. I don't know why I haven't had that lens for the longest time, but before that I was using my 24-35 f2 lens, and I sold it to get a 24-70, and I'm happy I did. Losing that extra stop of light isn't really much of a concern to me, but that was what was holding me back for the longest time, because that lens is an f2 lens, this is an f2.8 lens, but yo, I'm still able to get amazing images with this lens, and I absolutely love it. So if you want to get that lens, the link is down below in the description. I have links to most of the gear that I'm using in the description below. You can check it out. All right, so when I was planning the shoot, I knew that I needed to get a wide angle lens so I can add the pots and hair to my frame, to my subject, to capture what it is that I was imagining in my head, and that was hair being the centerpiece and the pots being all around her. So I started off again with an establishment shot, and that is basically to capture a sense of where we are. So you know, our subject and then the pots, just giving you an idea of where we are, and then you can quickly just zoom into about 70 and get tighter portraits. But for these ones, the close-up shots, I wanted to use my 85 1.4R lens for those, because I wanted to see if I could get a compression and also a very blurred background, just to, you know, change the whole texture in the frame to make it totally different from what I was getting with my 24-70, just so I can have like varied images in the portfolio from the shoot. Another thing also too is, even though we're shooting around 3 p.m. ish, the sun was a little bit harsh for some of the shots, and it later on got covered by clouds, and so we got soft light, and it really helped. It worked in my favor because I was able to get contrasty images, and I was also able to get like soft lit images as well, and that really helped. So one other thing I want to talk about that I noted is that because of the direction of the light, it was making her squint because it was lighting her up, right? So she was also trying to avoid it by looking down for the most part. But when you do that, you're not going to have very flattering shadows on your face. The best thing is to have your subject lift the chin up a little bit towards the sun, because that is what's going to illuminate the face and then make it look a little bit more properly lit. So that's the difference. So if you're shooting with natural light, even if you're shooting from a low angle, as much as possible, try and have your subjects raise their chin up a tiny bit. So just be observing the face, let her lift it up to a point where it's comfortable for her and you still have decent exposure and lighting pattern or ratio on her face, including the rest of the images, because generally when you have the lights good on the face, it's going to work well with the rest of the body as well. But Black Diamond is a pro, she's good at moving, so when I got the lighting right, she was just playing with the elements in the frame. So with the pot, you see her hand holding some of them, you know, contouring her body towards the shape of the pots. It was really amazing working with her. And then we moved it to the front so we can capture the dress itself. So for those, I was making her flip the dress around just to capture like different shapes to again add more variety to the images that we're getting. And those I was shooting with the 85 1.4R lens because I needed to step a little further back, but I wanted to get a little bit more compression. So the pots in the back are closer to her and just basically get a different texture in the images. So yeah, that pretty much is everything that happened on that day. The last thing I want to just briefly talk about is going to be my shooting angles. So again, I was shooting a little bit high and down towards the subject because I wanted to get the pots in the frame, but for some of them, when we moved to the greens, I was shooting a little bit lower to give her a sense of power or to make her seem like she's someone who has more authority, like a queen, you know. So I went lower and shot a little bit above so I can get that power pose. So just to go over everything, always take note of your lighting. If you have an app, Sansevieria app, you can use that to figure out where your light is going to be, and then you can plan the shoot with your team around that time just to favor you. You also need to figure out the kind of lenses that you need to carry along to help you capture the image that you're looking for. The next thing also is to plan with the camera setup. So the camera and lens that you're going to use for your shoot, you need to figure out what's going to help you capture the images that you're planning very, very well. Like I said, a 200mm lens wasn't going to be ideal, even though you can use 200mm lenses for shoots like these. In this case, the 24-70 was the best bet, including the 85. So yeah, always try and have a plan and vary your gear just to give you like different perspectives and different textures in your images. All right, the last thing I also want to talk about is working with your subject. So if you have someone who's good at moving, let her move, and then if you find a pose or if she does something that works, just let her repeat it a few times and capture that a few more times, and then when you come back you can select the best. Try as much as possible to work with the people that you're working with. So in this case, if she's doing something like I did, I asked her to raise her chin up a little bit, you know, because she's doing the posing, so I don't really have to focus so much on that, and I just needed to, you know, stop her in certain places and ask her to maybe chin up a little bit, turn her shoulder towards me a little bit, step forward a little bit, but then kept her flowing because that is what she was comfortable doing. So again, don't always control the situation a lot. I know a lot of us like to control situations just because we have something imagined in our head, but as much as possible, include a team when you're shooting. When she's doing something and I really like it, I only stop her and then ask her, yo, do this again, try this. What about if you put your hand here? What about if you put your hand there? What about if you look in this direction? You know, so those small nuances, those little tweaks are always going to move your images from the ordinary state to like the amazing state that you're looking for. So yeah, that pretty much is everything that happened on today's set. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like and a comment down below. If you want to see me do more outdoor shoots, let me know in the comments down below as well. If you want to see me build more studio setups as well, let me know in the comments. Whatever it is, let me know in the comments down below. I'll catch you guys in the next one, and remember, don't ever give up.